Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to everyone who has tuned in this afternoon for Miasa's International Women's Day Forum live on Facebook. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Good,
Waalaikumsalam.
Alhamdulillah.
Hi, everyone.
Waalaikumsalam.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so let me just introduce myself real quick. My name is Aliza Kim, and I will be your MC and moderator for this event. And now, something very exciting. Just before we start the actual forum, I'm going to pass the stage over to Puan Anita Abu Bakar because she has a very amazing announcement. Go ahead, Anita.
All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much, Sister Aliza. Sawadika, kun sabay di mai ka.
Oh, sabay di ka.
A little bit of Thai. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us for today's International Women's Day Forum. And I have a very exciting announcement to make. We are very happy, we are very honored, very humbled to announce that Che Puan Sarimah Ibrahim will be our patron for the year 2021-2022. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
We're very excited to have her on board. One of the things that I see personally with Che Puan Sarimah is she is very much for the cause. She's very passionate for the cause. She has been helping Miasa out for the past 2 years, and we are very happy to have her on board. We will announce this officially during via a press conference, hopefully in the 3rd or 4th week of March. So I would like to invite all our media friends. Please come. We're going to do a really small, physical press conference, inshallah. So with that, I would like to hand it over back to Aliza.
Thank you so much, Puan Anita. Now, if I could pass it over to also Yang Mulia Che Puan Sarimah to just say a few words about this new journey that you have.
Oh, thank you very much, Puan Anita, and also Sis Aliza. Thank you for that. You can just call me Che Puan or just Sarimah, it's fine. First and foremost, Alhamdulillah, I'm very much honored and very excited, to be honest with you. This is the first time I have been asked to be a patron for anything in my entire life. And
MashaAllah, I didn't know. Alhamdulillah.
I've just turned 43, so I'm like, okay, this is a sign that I'm finally maturing in life, maybe.
No, it's wisdom and experience.
Because when we were younger, we'd look at patrons and be like, right, all those old people, it's finally happening for them. So it's happening. So I'm very, very delighted and grateful and honored. I mean, I've been very active with Miasa, alhamdulillah, for the last, I think, almost 2 years, but more like as a spokesperson and a supporter for the cause, because I truly believe in Miasa and what you're doing. And I'm so proud of you, Puan Anita, and all of the sisters and everyone who's been involved in collaborating with Miasa. And what I want to continue to do as a patron is just to continue what you already do amazingly, which is to spread awareness on mental health, to reach out to people so everybody understands that they are not alone, that it is not a freaky thing to have a mental health condition. In any other way, any other physical condition that you have, a mental condition is just part of being a human being. MashaAllah. I mean, we are so ashamed and bogged down by the fear. And that is something that I would like to do as patrons, spread awareness, and hopefully with this collaboration, gain more support. I mean, let's be honest, we need more support in all aspects, to get this movement bigger, to get more people to come out and talk about what they're going through as human beings, not just for those with mental health conditions, but for those who are caretakers, for those who are caring for the caretakers, for the people in the NGOs, for the people who are setting up associations like Miasa, etc. Everybody needs a voice and a place, and we need to get those policies and lawmakers and let's just get things shifting and get things to change for the betterment of society, because everybody deserves a good life. And when I say good, I mean an equal life, equal opportunity at work, equal opportunity at home, in jobs, at schools, education, etc. And that is something that, inshallah, with me coming on board, the smiley, happy Sarimah, who also had a mental health condition and struggles just like all of you, like everyone else, maybe I just hope that I can help everybody else have the courage to come out and just say, hey, I need a bit of help, or somebody I know or love needs a bit of help. And that's what we're going to do at Miasa, try our best to continue raising awareness and helping those who need it. So thank you very much for having me on board as your patron.
MashaAllah.
Thank you very much.
MashaAllah, I had a smile on my face the whole time because it just, you can tell that, you know, Miasa has a wonderful new patron, exactly the right person. Alhamdulillah. May Allah grant success to Miasa, her new patron, and the founders and everyone involved. Ameen, ameen. Okay, so without further ado, please do allow me to start the formal part of the forum now. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulullah wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Okay, so today we are welcoming our honored VIPs, esteemed panelists, members of the media, and everyone who has tuned into this very important forum by Miasa. Today's forum is entitled Women in Leadership, Turning Challenges into Opportunities to Thrive. And this is the perfect title for today because the 4 women who are going to be speaking are indeed power-packed. And I'm so proud to be a part of this forum. But before that, for anyone who does not know about Miasa yet, please allow me to introduce Miasa to all of you. Miasa stands for Mental Illness Awareness and Support Association. It is a mental health advocacy and peer support NGO based in Selangor. It was founded about 4 years ago in 2017 with the objective to promote awareness on the importance of mental health and also tackle all those taboos that we have out there. So this is a very important organization for us to support. Please do check them out on their website, on their social media, and get to know all of the programs that they are holding. Okay, now, next part, I get to introduce everyone with their BM titles, which I'm not very good at. As you can tell, I'm American, very American with a very American tongue, but I will do my best. Okay, first up, Yang Berhagia Puan Anita Abu Bakar, founder and president of Mental Illness Awareness and Support Association, Miasa. Alhamdulillah, welcome, Puan Anita. Next up, Yang Mulia Che Puan Sarimah Ibrahim, Alhamdulillah, patron of Miasa, MashaAllah. Che Puan is the accomplished television host, actress, entertainer, and also radio announcer, MashaAllah, and she has been involved for about 2 years with Miasa. Also, we have through video, Yang Berhormat Puan Nurul Izzah Anwar, Member of Parliament for Permatang, Pauh, and a Malaysian political activist, someone, of course, who has grown up in the public eye. And last but not least, someone who I'm so proud to call also my elder sister, the Honorable Yang Berhormat Senator Datuk Adiba Radzi, Member of Parliament, President and co-founder of Persatuan OKU Sentral, and so much more. We're going to hear more about her coming up. So much more. Okay, so that's over.
Well done.
We're gonna
Good job.
Such a mouthful. I had to practice. I was practicing since 2 days ago.
You did well.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so now we are going to start the questions, and these are such important questions. And with your permission, if I can start with you, Senator Raz. It's so strange to be calling you Senator Raz, but I love it. Okay, so last week, Miasa also had a chance to speak with you, and on that forum, we learned so much about you already, you know, going from someone in media and who was physically what's the best word? Physically fine. And then you became someone who has a challenge, and you've gone through so many different challenges, not only physical, mental, everything. But now we're looking at you as a new senator, and we'd love to hear what are some of your challenges and how are you getting over those challenges? Okay, you can.
Hi, everybody. Assalamualaikum. Yeah, are we on already? Can you hear me loud and clear? Hi, everyone. Assalamualaikum. Thank you for having me, Aliza, Adik. It's so good to see all of you, especially you, Aliza. Just to share with everybody, Aliza is she interviewed me a long time ago, and now we're meeting again. So it's been yongs. Okay. The challenges that I go through. every day is crazy. I think for some of you who've known me for quite a bit, especially Che Puan Sarimah, all of you have seen me jumping about. I'm a trained dancer. I ride my motorbikes and stuff like that. And then I became a disabled in 2002. That was a pretty harrowing experience. In 1995, I was in a car accident and I was flung out the front windscreen. They placed titaniums, and then but I could still walk. In 2001, I actually and just sharing again, 2001, people assaulted me because they wanted to steal my car. I could still walk. 1995 to 2001, and in 2002, I fell while taking something from the cupboard. In Malay, we say retak menunggu belah. It's something that was just waiting to happen. So Alhamdulillah, I have been blessed to be able to do a lot of stuff from 1995 until 2002. But I need to share with all of you right here that during that time, I was going through really, really hard, dark times, because I was just lying down in bed and looking at the walls and looking at the ceiling, and I thought my friends would come and visit me, and then I realized that in actual fact in life we only have a lot of acquaintances. We have very few friends. Sometimes we don't even have friends. So I was let down, and that was one. Second thing was I lost my job, and then third thing was I was losing it because people say what you don't know, you don't care. If you're born able, suddenly you become disabled. It's crazy. Suddenly you have to adjust so many things. You have to learn how to use your diapers, put your catheter. Even today, if I'm going to be putting my clothes on, it takes me half an hour to just roll around in bed. Little things that we take for granted. I see it now, and I should have appreciated things before. But like I said, because you're born able, suddenly you become disabled. What you don't know, you don't care. For some of my friends who are born disabled, they're used to it. They're like, it's okay. They get used to it with their carers who help them. But because for me it was very hard, and every day I have to be very honest. I kept saying, please bring me home. Please bring me home. Allah, please bring me home. I don't know how to live like this. I said, bawalah aku pulang, bawalah aku pulang. Aku tidak tahu bagaimana untuk hidup sebegini. I really don't. And every day I would cry and cry and cry. I was so depressed. I didn't understand what was going on. I thought that maybe I did something wrong in my life to deserve this. But as you go along, you realize that everything happens for a reason, and that everything has been written in our book of life. Segalanya sudah tertulis. And every time I cry and cried, I felt like I said, Allah, please help me, please help me. And I felt that He actually put a blanket on top of me and to say, hey, it's okay, I'm here, it's okay. So what pulled me through is actually having faith, believing in Allah. Before I didn't quite understand. I was trying to reason it. I wasn't questioning. I was trying to reason why it happened to me. And then I realized that it happens to me because I'm one of the chosen ones. So we are all the chosen ones in our own little ways. We don't realize it. Each and every one of us have a responsibility. I am so happy to see that Miasa has now got Che Puan Sarimah on board, because I've known Che Puan since she was tiny, and then she's grown and grown and grown, beautiful, more matured, and a lot of experience. So she is able to share with you what she goes through, something that a lot of people have difficulties in sharing. So alhamdulillah. So like in my case, I think even Anita can understand. It's not easy because people look at us, people think we're okay. People look at me and say, oh, you've had it good in your life. And I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. Every day, during those days when I first became disabled, every time the doorbell rings, I'm so excited. I rush to the door because I want to see another human being, because people forgot all about me. They just didn't want to see me, and they were afraid, So I would open the door, and there was this postman. And then I said, hi, how are you? And the postman looked at, I'm fine, here's your letter. And then he said, okay, bye. And he goes off. And he's probably thinking like, what is wrong with that lady? Why is she being nice to me? But in actual fact, I just wanted to see someone, and people just deserted me. And the thing that pulled me through, I share this with everyone. I say the thing that pulled me through is Allah, because having faith is good. So it helps, because you have someone to turn to. You have something to follow, to believe. And I that's why I encourage everyone to always be grateful and to always pray and ask and connect yourself to the Almighty. That was first. Second is having family or friends, helps. And then third is having a sense of humor. You have to be able to laugh at yourself, because so many things are happening. You're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Like I'm losing. And then I lost my friends. And then I realized that actually you don't need friends. You have yourself. You are your own best friend. So I tell myself every time when you're down, look in the mirror and say, hey, beautiful, how's it going? Like today, it's Women's Day. So I say to all of you out there, hey, beautiful, how's it going? Whatever you're going through right now, it's going to pass. You just have to make sure you smile and remember that you're special in your own ways, and never allow anyone to say anything bad about you. If they do, look at them and say, oh yeah. If that person say, you're not going to succeed, you're going to fail, or if they keep putting you down, you just smile at them and say, whatever. You're not God. You're not one to judge. You're another human being. So always compliment yourself. Always say, hey, you know what? If you think you're going through worse, there are a lot of people who's going through worse. And then the other thing that pulled me through is your sense of humor. Actually, you must be able to laugh at yourself, because life is so short, guys. If we're going to just sit down and cry and just wallow in self pity, it's not going to help anything. Everything is in our hands. We need to take charge of our lives. Only us, only we can do it. Sometimes we ask people, hey, this and this and this and this and this, and we don't realize while we are talking to that somebody, we're already giving the answer. We need to reach out. That's what Miasa is here. It's very important for us to reach out and be there for each other. Women, now because we're talking on Hari Wanita Sedunia, on Women's Day today, we have to look out for each other. We have to be there for each other, not bring each other down. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. We need to stay close knitted, and then you got to reach out. That's why we have Miasa. We have so many other organizations. If you don't reach out, you will be pulling yourself away from people, and that's not good. I tell people today, this moment, and this time that we're speaking, it's all written. It's all written in our book of life, and we have to be there, speak. We need to show up. We need to get up. Whether it's hard, if we need to cry, cry. It's okay to cry, because crying will just release all the stress, and then speak to someone. Some people around you are just negative. You don't need negative people. If they want to be negative, that's their problem. You're not going to be negative. You're just going to move forward, chins up, smile, be brave. Even though you're not that brave, just be brave. Just keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. Because you know why? You might not realize it. Each and every one of us are inspiring someone. Each and every one of us in this group, talking to each other, people who are watching us all around the world, each and every one of you is inspiring someone. So please, I beg of you to smile, go out, look at the clouds, smile at the sun. Show your gratitude. Say Alhamdulillah, thank you, God, for everything. Whatever it is that comes my way, we women, we have a strength that we don't realize. Each time when we are pushed to the pin to the ground or pushed to the wall, we will bounce and rise up. You know why? Because we are made that way. The Almighty created women to be supersonic amazing. We don't realize the strength that we have until we are pushed to the wall. So please, everyone out there, get up, look in the mirror and smile and say, I am amazing. I am enough. And no one's going to take that away from me. You know, if there are people around us who's negative, smile, look at them and say, Assalamu alaikum, or peace be upon you, or whatever, I'm just going to move forward and I'm going to rise. And that's what we're all going to do. Each and every one of us have our own struggles, But our struggles, the one that's going to turn us into an incredible human being. We have that strength within us. Take it out, smile, look in the mirror and say, you know what? If I think I got it bad, there's a lot more people who's going through worse. If I think I'm crying and losing it, there's a lot of people who's going through worse. So I beg of you, please appreciate yourself. Smile. Today and every day is our day. We owe it to ourselves to be super amazing. And that's what all of you are. And I'm very, 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 very thankful that we are here, because today, from wherever we're at, we are reaching out to each other to say, hey, you know what? It's okay not to be okay. But we must not let situations hamper us and bring us down. We must open up like a flower. We must bloom. We need to bloom, because that's what women are all about. We are beautiful and we are awesome. So please, this is our day, and every day, we, you and I, we are enough. We don't need anyone else to tell us that we are not.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Bakar. So we have to remember that it's okay to not be okay. We need to be strong within ourselves. And I got to tell you that I got emotional during the first part of what you were saying, because I know some of your backstory. So I was reliving some of the things that I had the pleasure of knowing about you. And people, you have to follow this woman. She's had such an tumultuous life, but she is an icon of survival. So if you're someone who's going through a lot, this is someone that you need to follow, someone that you need to learn from. Okay, so now if I could now talk to Puan Anita. You also have had such a journey in your life, being born abroad and then coming back, being an entrepreneur, being an investment banker, so many things. And then we know that something happened to you and you had to come out of that. And now you're a founder. Can you talk more about your role actually as a founder, as a leader who has, well, we'll just come out and say, who has a mental health condition? How is that for you and how do you get through it?
All right, thank you very much, Sister Aliza. Having a mental health condition while helming a mental health NGO, and with everything that I've gone through, it actually humbles you. So it's a journey of humility, right? Because I used to think I was invincible, and my ego got bruised really badly, and then surrendering totally and completely to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the realization that without him, I'm nothing. And that was a lot. And imagine it took all that. It took finally a mental health condition for me to lose functionality in life, only to understand that I am completely at his mercy. But he is the most merciful, of course. So, I always say that my experience with the mental health condition has changed the whole trajectory of my life. And I am already in the mental health space, and I helm Miasa, so it's quite obvious that I must either be a person with the condition or I am a caregiver, right? Although sometimes, people think I'm a normal person, or, a doctor without the condition, which I find a bit strange, but I take it as a compliment. However, I'm not that noble. I am a stakeholder. I have an interest in the space. My agenda is obvious. I want to push for full inclusion and see it manifest into our policies and law with no person left behind. But at the same time, Sister Aliza, I have a lot of fears doing this, leading it. But I am fearless too, if that makes sense. I remember one day one of my cousins told me, she said, "You're very privileged, Anita, to be able to do this work, to be able to have a voice, to be able to speak on behalf of others." And I never thought about it that way. But having said that, with this voice, it comes responsibility. You know, there's accountability. You come into the space, you see, you know, there's cracks, there's holes, and you think, you know, how do you put all this together? How do you fix this? How do you make it better? So, you know, for me, my greatest fear in it is not making the right decisions for Miasa, not making the right decisions for my peers and caregivers, and it reinforces stigma. Because those of you that know me, you know, those that are listening, you know, my family and friends, you know, I'm very careful. You know, my staff members know this. I'm very careful with what I say, because there's so much stigma, there's so much shame, you know, attached to mental health and mental health condition, especially people with the condition. And so I have that fear where I'm not able to lead well or unable to deliver, you know, what I need to on a daily basis. So that's very challenging for me as a leader, because then it will confirm the negative perception of others saying that, look, a person with mental health condition can't lead, you know, can't work, can't make good decisions. So that's always, you know, my fear. And one of the things that happened recently was I had to make such a decision. I was tested on this. I was, you know, I held a certain position where if I stayed on, I could probably, you know, reach more people, get more people to help, know more people, but it would also mean compromising what I believe in, you know, what I stood for. It's not something that I'm willing to sacrifice, not now and not ever, I hope. So you have to do the right thing, even when the majority of people don't support you. So that's very tough when you're leading. So I have to constantly, you know, Sister Aliza and everyone, remind myself, recheck my intention, and, you know, realizing and understanding that I'm only answerable to him and not anyone, and I'm here to please him and only him. And so it's okay, you know, I'll be okay. And I know that the people that mean to me support me, and that's enough, right? And then the other thing, of course, is when you lead, you know, you have to be exemplary, right? People look up to you, and, you know, it's all about character and attitude, and you have to set good example for others and taking care of yourself at the same time. And, you know, I think all of you know that if you have a mental health condition, taking care of your mental health is an everyday job. You know, I'm not like the other person where, you know, I can sleep at 2 in the morning and able to focus the next day, or, you know, not take care of myself, you know, not eating well, not sleeping well, not resting, you know, doing things that I like, you know, self-care, you know. So there's a lot of things that I need to do and invest on a daily in my daily life, in order for me to be able to lead well, in order for me to be able to do this work and be physically healthy and mentally healthy, right? So I think, you know, I heard one of Oprah's, you know, talk recently where she spoke about everyone can be great by service. And I try as much as possible to make myself useful and be of service to others. And I think it's a privilege to be able to do that. And Miasa, as much as possible, we try to stand by providing, you know, quality services, you know, be of certain standard and of excellence. So all in all, it's challenging, but as much as possible, I try to be mindful that I need to take care of myself, inshallah.
I think that your point of, you know, always checking your intention and drawing your real power from him is such a beautiful point. And I think your story especially is very relatable, because you come from a professional background and you're having these challenges. And I think especially during this time with the MCO and the pandemic and everything, there are a lot of professionals who are finding themselves burnt out, having anxiety and all these things. So yeah, another wonderful person to learn from you all. Okay, so next up is Che Puan Sarimah. Now, for you, what I understand, I'm not from Malaysia, but from what I understand is that you're a very accomplished entertainer, someone who is always looking, you know, very happy-go-lucky, always smiling, always upbeat. But recently, you also have come out to say that you have had your own mental health struggles. You know, how has that been coming out? Why did you come out? And maybe you can give also a tip of how you're kind of dealing with those challenges.
Well, okay, thanks, Sis Aliza. Well, basically, my journey has actually been ongoing for quite a long time in terms of trying to raise awareness for mental health. It's just that recently I came out more vocally and publicly, and especially with working closely with Miasa I've had the platform to be heard more, perhaps. But prior to this, I myself have been very much an advocate for mental health awareness. I studied psychology in uni, and I studied psychology while I worked. I was working to raise a living for myself, and I continued with my passion, which is psychology, and specifically neuropsychology. I'm very interested in the brain, and I hope to, inshallah, continue my studies in that. But the reason why I've always decided to talk about mental health is because of the struggles of my friends and my colleagues, professionally and personally, that I've observed. That's number one, watching people struggle, watching what they've gone through, whether it's Senator Adiba as one of the people I've observed also, whether it's my own family, whether it's my close friends, colleagues in the industry here and also globally. Watching the struggles that people go through very much inspired me to talk about it, because I've never been a person to shy away from difficult conversation. I've always believed that difficult conversation is necessary to break through and bring about change. Secondly, the reason why I decided to talk more about mental health and raise awareness is because I myself went through quite a rough time postnatally after giving birth. Now, everybody thought, somebody like me, including me, I thought, I'll be fine. You know, I mean, you've got a new baby, alhamdulillah, you should be like on top of the world. And I was on top of the world. I was so excited. I was so grateful. I mean, I was wrapped up in Sophia. However, there was a deep, dark emptiness that was creeping up behind it, and I didn't understand where it came from. And later on, through seeking out professional help and therapy, I learned that it's a lot to do with it's biopsychosocial. It's your brain, it's your hormones, it's past trauma is combined with your social environment and stressors that us women go through generally anyway. But it just became massive. And I was very shocked to have gone through that. So I said, hey, let me, talk about this, because I know a lot of women are going through it, and people just say they maroyan, or they give them labels and say, they're just hormonal, and there's much more to it. So I wanted to talk more about that, and discussing with Puan Anita, we decided Miasa would be an excellent platform for me to raise more awareness on this. And thirdly, the increasing rates of abuse and suicide. It just troubles me so much. Just opening up the news and just looking through it's just ridiculous. And I just feel like a very, very important cause. A lot of people point fingers and say, oh, the person's evil, that person's evil, they did it because they're evil. But if you go back and you look at the history of each perpetrator, there is a story behind each behavior, and it usually links back to a mental health condition that could have perhaps been prevented turning into a crime if he or she had reached out and gotten the help necessary. I mean, recently with the case of the poor unfortunate child that was killed by his mother and I think stepfather, when we look at that case, and there's a lot of pointing fingers, and of course there's no justification for such behavior. But when I looked at that and I found out a little bit more about the mother, I do understand that she had sought out professional help, but did not receive the right therapy, and was told basically that she'll be just fine. So there is a history there where there was a mental health condition and a problem, and there was seeking out of help, but not the appropriate or not sufficient help. And cases like this really, really hit me hard, because I feel like there's so many children out there and people who are suffering, be it child abuse or domestic abuse or sexual harassment at work by male or female, or talk about the glass ceiling, because we're talking about leadership today. There's so much struggle happening, and people are they're not able to talk about it, or they don't know where to go to talk about it. So me, little old me, I'm just thinking, hey, if I can be that Kak Sarimah or that Sarimah who's done a lot, and people know me, they hopefully, inshallah, trust me enough to know that when I do speak, it's not empty, and I do come from the heart. If I can say, hey, look, I've struggled, and there are people I know are struggling, there's no shame in getting help. And if you see someone struggling, look out for the red flags. If you see your neighbor going through something, or your partner, see what they're going through. Don't turn a blind eye. Always believe what a person shows you. Never deny a person's behavior when they show it to you, because they're asking for help or they're showing you something. And that's what inspired me, Sis Aliza, to come out and talk more about this. And that's also what inspired me and allowed me to accept the invitation to be the patron, because I really believe in education and raising awareness through that.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because I mean, what you said and are exemplifying is that this could happen to anyone.
Yes.
But the thing is that, you know, we need to be educated. And now, especially, I mean, what year is this, right? We need to be educated in these red flags so that we understand and don't deny anyone, because that's, I mean, that's the root of it, right? We're just denying that people have these things. Whereas it's like what you said from the beginning, it's something that everyone could have it. It's something that should be normalized, something that, you know, it's a health issue and you shouldn't be labeling another thing.
No, labeling is an unfortunate thing that happens, but it's natural in the world. We label everything as good or bad, but there are grays and there are middle parts. You know, we either swing from one extreme to the other on the pendulum and saying someone's good or they're bad. But the middle part, where we're just being human and trying to survive in the middle, is often ignored. And you need to be in either you're a good person or a bad person, which I don't believe in. And I've learned that through a lot of education and therapy myself. So the tips that I could give answering your question would be just to know yourself, know what you're going through. Everyone's got a journey. Look at the speakers today, and all of you watching, you have your own journey. You know what you're going through in your life. Trust your own instincts, you know. You have your religion, you have your faith, and you have your brain. You have your brain and you have the resources and the means to go out and get help, because sitting back, nothing's going to happen for you. You know, if you sit back, you are going to suffer in silence. So reach out, get the help, get the professional help that's necessary. If you can't speak to a family member, if you can't speak to your partner or your friends that you trust, get the professional help you need. You know, there's absolutely no shame in it. The only thing that can happen is you can come out stronger and more knowledgeable.
That's right. And if you don't know who to contact, go ahead and contact Miasa in any of their avenues on their social media, and they'll be able to guide you to the next step. Okay, next up is YB Nurul Izzah. She is joining us again from through video, and her question is: you are indeed an iron lady. Excuse me, an iron lady. What helps you go through everything that you're going through, and how do you actually, where do you draw your strength? So we're going to hear from her through video now. Sister Alia or Sister Nada, are you there?
We have her on video today. She's not able to join us. Is that right?
That's right. Okay. Someone is unmuting themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Are we ready?
Correct. This is question not number one, correct?
I'm sorry?
The number of the question. Can I know the number of the question?
This is the first question. Again, the question is: you are indeed an iron lady. What keeps you going, and where do you draw your strength?
All right.
Okay, we could bring up that video now.
These are the challenges of digital online talks.
That's right. Alhamdulillah. There we go. Something's happening.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam hormat Puan Anita and the whole family of Miasa, Sarimah, Datuk Ras, hadirin-hadirat yang sedang mendengar di atas talian untuk bersama kita dalam sambutan Hari Wanita, but more importantly to speak about something so crucial, which is the state of our collective mental health. Now Miasa has chosen the theme for International Women's Day. And remember what Datuk Ras used to say, we're not just celebrating once a year, we're celebrating it every single day. The women in leadership turning challenges into opportunities to thrive. Now, I'm really sorry because I can't be with all of you at this particular moment on a Monday. I am in kawasan di Permatang Pauh, and we have to address a few issues to future-proof Malaysia from many challenges, including natural disasters. Now I'm going to go to the question. The first, they call me an iron lady. I'm very lucky to have a very supportive family and to learn from many other iron ladies out there. And sometimes I think it's a dynamic term because sometimes you're really at a low point. And you need to derive support from others, and you need to remind yourself that you're always loved, that we, each one of us, are part of a larger agenda, a part of a destiny that's left to be fulfilled. And why do I say this? Because I feel that this is a journey on earth, and we are so lucky when we drive home, remembering those who we have been blessed with, our beloved children, our parents. If they've left us, for some of you, the fact that we had the opportunity to be loved and to love them, and also to learn from our experiences with them. So I feel that, I feel very blessed in terms of what keeps me going and how I derive my strength from is to remember these lessons in life. And this journey that is finite, that's why it's the more meaningful. And I always feel God's presence. I always feel that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala loves me very much, and I try my best, to protect that link, because that kind of bond that you have with the Almighty, I feel kind of gives you that strength when you're met with life's challenges, because as we live and breathe, there's not much within our purview of choice, is it? So I think that's what kept me going. There were very, very dark days when I felt like nothing I could do could change matters. So then you
Uh-oh. Okay, so we have lost the sound for the video.
ikan
Okay.
dan sasaran adalah untuk menyelesaikan jurusan saya dalam kejuruteraan elektrik elektronik. I had to have my degree, right? So, you can chunk down accordingly. Every single day is a blessing. So you try to fulfill and realize that particular goal. Of course, along with prayers, lots of prayers and lots of guidance from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So I think the birds agree with me. Thank you.
MashaAllah. Okay, alhamdulillah. So that was the video from YB Nurul Izzah. Alhamdulillah. I mean, everyone's stories have been absolutely amazing, of course. So, but we are going to go to the next round of questions now, and it is on leadership, actually. We're going to get back to Senator Raz. I know that time is a bit tight for you as well, but let's get to your question first. Now, as a female leader, especially with whatever challenges that you're going through right now, what are the most significant barriers to your career and why?
Assalamualaikum again. I think it's the same with everybody else. One is people sometimes feel that us women, we are not up to par as the men. But they don't realize that we go to the same school, we go to universities, and we actually work 500 times harder to prove ourselves. So I think what it is actually discrimination and persepsi masyarakat, people's perception that the community and the people around you, they feel that if you're a woman, you shouldn't be a leader. I think that it's also, in a way, it's traditional, the thinking, because women, especially Muslim women, we are taught to, have the man to be the leader of the house and things like that. But times have changed. I think at the moment right now, what we need to do is be there and support each other, because especially during the pandemic right now, everyone's going through a tough time. The men, the women, the children, everyone around us. So for me, on my as a personal experience, I'm very fortunate and blessed because in the upper house and in the lower house, they don't take sides. They see you as you are. I'm very privileged because I get to be with the few women in the upper house. It tend to be a bit frustrating because you see a lot of men and there's only about 5 or 6 of us. But I tell myself and the other ladies up there, slowly but surely, you know, you don't just gung ho and try to and be angry and say why. Instead, work around it and prove ourselves. I always tell people, Ikra, you have to read, you have to improve yourself, you have to be there, you have to show up. You know, as someone who's disabled, in the meantime, I feel discriminated because not because I'm a lady, but because I am disabled, and they feel that, you know, because I'm disabled, I'm unable to do a lot of stuff. So in actual fact, like I mentioned, we have to work a few 100 times more than an able body. And in the end, if you take a woman with you under you know, under your company or in your team, you will find that you will be having someone who is monumental. You'll find that you actually have someone who is a true asset to your company, because women, as I put it to a lot of my friends, we are like macam sotong. We are like an octopus. We have so many ways on doing things. We can multitask. We can do this. You tell us what to do, we'll do it. You know, even though how hard it is, we were like, okay, I can do this. I can focus. I can do it. I can do it. You know, so yeah, there's discrimination. Of course, you know, gender, that, you know, you can't run away from it. But this is 2021. It's time that people realize that women have qualities to be that. Women are leaders in our own rights, and we need to be able to support and lead. And please don't think just because we are beautiful, which we are, and please don't think just because we look demure that we don't have what it takes to fight. We don't have what it takes to be up there. We can make the same decision as you, maybe even better, if given the chance. So yeah, so it's something that personally I see. Kadang-kadang tu sakit hati. Sometimes you see it's like, oh my God, this is 2021. You still think we're incapable, but there's no point in being angry about it. But just work around it and just be gracious and explain slowly, you know, and explain. And when we explain, we have the what you call it, the points to explain. Don't just be emotional. Just take it easy, be gracious, and have that class that you all have.
Okay, thank you so much. You know, the thing that I get from you is that, you know, you have so many different layers of this discrimination because of the things that you represent. But you know, the first point is that banding together, women band together, and we're powerful. That is a beautiful thing that you said, and it's so true. Women just somehow, you know, when we get together, it's just fireworks. Yeah. But the other thing I remember, I posted a quote the other day on my, I think it was last week. I have this monthly series, and the quote was, you know, when someone tells you that you can't do something, do it, and to do it twice and take pictures. And I remember so many pictures of you driving, was it deep sea diving, shooting, all these things that people who do not have a disability can't even dream of doing. You know, I can't dream of doing half of the things that you do. And you definitely do it more than twice and take plenty of pictures. And please keep doing that, because it definitely inspires many people. Okay. Next up is Puan Anita. If we can also speak to you about leadership, like what we have been talking about, you have been a leader in so many different roles, but now as a leader and a founder of the NGO, what are some of the lessons, the leadership lessons that you can share with us?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Sister Aliza. That's a very good question. You know, as I mentioned earlier, one of the greatest lessons for me, there's a couple, but first and foremost is the realization that I'm not invincible. So I learned this the hard way. Allah taking away my health, my ability to function as a human being, and of course realizing that without Him I'm nothing. So I'm proof that the verse La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah is true. There is no might, there is no power except with Allah. And I never, Sister Aliza, take things for granted anymore. And this lesson came about again when this pandemic had happened. But I was more prepared. I was more prepared to surrender, you know, myself completely to Him, despite, you know, my anxiety was off the roof when we first when the MCO first happened, right? Because there was so much uncertainty. We didn't know what was going to happen, you know, how long we would be in the situation, what was going to happen with Miasa, you know, how do we do this, you know, when we had to migrate everything online. So there was so many things that was going through my mind. And, you know, the first 2 weeks was really horrible for me, right? I never expected to feel that way again, or to experience that um, high levels of anxiety and anxiousness again. But of course, I was more prepared this time around. So how it has translated to leadership with that lesson is I am now, hopefully, inshallah, I strive to be a person that is more empathetic, right? To be more understanding with whatever struggles that everyone is going through. You know, like what Che Puan Sarimah was saying, you know, it's either you're good or you're bad, but what happens to the middle, right? So now being that leader, when, you know, my staff members, if they're not doing well, if they're not able to manage their work or not performing, then we have that open discussion. You know, they know that my door is always open and we discuss things, because if not, before I had the condition 8 years ago, it was just, you know, we just hustle. I keep pushing and pushing, right? So it is a journey of humility. This journey with the condition really has humbled me, I hope. And, you know, if not my ego, it's higher than, you know, the building really, you know, because whatever, you know, goals I had, whatever KPIs I had, you know, I always achieved them. So this was also the test itself, right? So that's first. Two, I think that when there is potential success, there is a price that comes with it. And what I've realized being in, you know, the corporate world, you know, being an investment banker for a very long time, and then, you know, being an entrepreneur, and then coming into the mental health space, again, just bringing my experience with the condition and not being a mental health professional, that not everyone is happy for your success. Not everyone wants to see you succeed. Not everyone will cheer you on, like what YB Ras was saying. You know, it can be a very lonely journey, especially when you're up there, when you're leading, and some are waiting for you to fail. So this is something that I've learned, and I can manage this better. I understand this better now, and I'm lucky. I'm very fortunate because I have my husband, my mom, and my kids who are my greatest fans, and they're truly all my reasons. And then, you know, along this journey, I've met so many good people that are truly for this cause, you know, and all the good friends that I've met and have made along the way, you know, all of you that are here today, helping me, you know, we're supporting one another. So this is really, truly has been a very extraordinary journey. There's the good, there's the bad, but there's lessons to be learned, and I take it for me to grow, for Miasa to grow, and for us to make a change and improvement all together in the mental health space, inshallah.
Ameen, Ameen. You know what struck me, Sister Anita, as you were speaking? You know, I mean, of course, the first thing is that, you know, you really submitting yourself to Allah. But then as you were speaking, I just couldn't help but just notice that what you're actually, how Allah has led you to the prophetic way of leadership. I don't know if you realize, because the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he was definitely leader by example. And that's what kind of what you're saying now, is that instead of just push, now you're actually being an example. And he would always consult with the Sahaba in whatever he needed. You know, he was he was the messenger of Allah. He didn't need to consult anyone, because he had Allah to consult with. But he always brought himself down to the ground and really consult people. So these little things, as you were speaking, just struck me that, wow, you're really following the prophetic way of leadership.
Alhamdulillah, Sister Lisa, actually, that's a very interesting point, because I just remembered this was one of the things that my Ustaz Muhammad Nurul, who is the Vice President of Miasa, he told me the same thing, because there was this one huge meeting that I went to a couple of years ago, and I felt very heavy, you know, bringing a big responsibility, the voices of our peers and caregivers. And after I said what I needed to say, I felt relief. But at the same time, I went into the car and I started crying, right? I started crying, Che Puan Sarimah, and I was very confused with what I was feeling. And so I called him up. I said, Ustaz, why am I feeling this way? I've done my job, but yet here I am crying. I feel relief. Well, what is it? I feel very confused. And he said, you know what, Sister Anita, what you're feeling is a glimpse of the jihad of the Sahaba of during our Prophet's time. And I was like, mashallah, alhamdulillah. So thank you, Sister Aliza, for pointing that out. Inshallah, I will do my best, and together we can do more.
Inshallah. Okay, Che Puan Sarimah, you're up. And this question kind of also ties in to what Senator Raz was saying before. I mean, you're a leader yourself and you have so many contacts who are leaders. What do you think is the best way for women to really support ourselves or other women, so women support other women in a leadership role?
Okay, thanks, Sis Aliza. Thanks for asking me that. With being a celebrity, there comes a lot of responsibility, in fact. And I mean, I'm not here to judge anybody, but I do feel sometimes people forget that responsibility. And one thing that I'd like to touch on, and it actually relates back to what Sis Anita mentioned just now, and also what Sis Senator Ras Adiba mentioned. Okay, so leadership as a woman throughout history, there have been very few spaces for women to lead, in the sense that, I'm just going to touch on this a little bit differently. Women have always been competing with other women for the very limited spaces in a man-ruled world. Now, I'm not a feminist, so don't get me wrong here. And I do believe in equality for all human beings. But what I find is the biggest barrier for women is other women often can be our biggest barrier. One of the biggest competitors that I found in my life have been women, not men. There is a glass ceiling, but I can't say that the glass ceiling is only men's fault. I often see that a lot of women claw and pull other women down when they see women filling those spaces of leadership or those important roles. There's always a negative perception. How did she get there? What did she do to get that leadership role? Why am I not in that leadership role? And this is actually a huge barrier for women. So as a woman myself, I've experienced this since I was young. I'm mixed. I'm Irish, I'm Malay, I have Chinese blood, and I've been to various schools around the world, and every school I went to, the boys were not the problem. The girls were the problem. The girls were angry when I won the debating competition. The girls were jealous when I won or performed certain things that were better than some others. And it's often us women that are not supporting each other. And I believe that is the biggest challenge. And what I would love to see is women supporting other women more. Because instead of mumbawang and say, and I mean, I can even bring it down. Let's be honest here, we're all adults, right? Let's bring it down to a very, very simple, horrible situation where other women are fighting for women's
leave that to Sarimah to do it. Yep.
Let's be honest here. We're talking about leadership, okay? Wives
mull them over.
Such an important role, right? And there's other women out there trying to take some wives' roles because they want to be the leader of that family or they want the benefits. CEO jobs. Senator Ras, you better watch your back because there's a lot of women probably coming after your position, I mean, Puan Anita, don't worry, I'm the patron. I don't want your job. It's too hard.
I'll call you when that happens.
First and foremost. Sis Aliza, I'm happy you're the moderator today. Alhamdulillah, because I was a moderator last week and I know how challenging it is. But you know something? We are our worst enemies. And what happens is then us women have this expectation of ourselves, and we're actually building an unrealistic expectation. We think that we've got to be perfect super women, and therefore all the other women out there, you better be perfect and amazing too. Don't do anything wrong, and you better prove how you got into that leadership role. Because they're so limited, the positions for women, unfortunately. Everybody's even vying to be, can I be the second, third, fourth wife, please? Just give me a role, please. I mean, I'm just being honest here. And if a woman works her way up into a role, we've all heard this. Ooh, was she close to the boss? It's almost as if we can't believe each other's success or we don't want to. And I find that to be the saddest thing, because I think if women supported women more and had less suspicion about each other, there'd be even more leaders.
True.
I mean, if we look back to the Prophet, be upon him, his time, look at the women, look at his wife, look at Khadija, look at, I mean, you know what I'm saying here. These are powerful women in positions of leadership, and they helped other women. And that is the one thing that I would like to say today on International Women's Day. We need to stop cutting each other down. We need to stop questioning each other. We need to stop trying to ruin each other's lives and lift each other up before we start complaining about the glass ceiling and how the men are doing us wrong. Because often or not, it's the women doing each other wrong. And you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You just need to prove yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or whichever God you practice in your religion, as the viewers who are watching, and as yourself. Stop competing, because that's the mindset that's keeping women down.
That's beautiful. You know, you're so right. We don't need to compete with each other. It doesn't have to be I win, you lose. It can be
Exactly.
all of us win, right? We can all survive together. That is gorgeous. Thank you so much. And just to make a quick announcement, Senator Raz does have something that she needs to do. So we are actually going to say goodbye to her first, but we are going to continue with our forum, but we're going to say goodbye
Thank
to her.
you. Thank you, Senator Raz.
Senator,
Thanks,
do you want to say anything?
Senator.
Happy
Thanks,
International
Doc.
Women's Day.
Do you want to
My
say
love
any
and
last words at all?
kisses. My love and kisses to everyone. My love and kisses to everyone. And just please remember, as what Che Puan Sarimah said, we ladies have to come together and support each other and just stop picking on each other, stop bitching, move forward and just rise together. With that, I just want to say terima kasih kerana menjemput saya. Thank you, Anita, Che Puan, and everybody. Aliza, thank you so much for having me, everybody. I've got your back. I've got everybody's back. So you have a problem, you know who to call. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So I love you. See you soon. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Assalamualaikum.
Okay, so alhamdulillah. It was wonderful to have Senator Raz with us. Again, she has to run. So, but we still do have a video response from YB, Nurul Izzah. So we're going to go to that now. Her question was, what advice would you give to the next generation of women leaders? So if Sister Nada can play that now. Thank you.
What advice would you give to the next generation of women leaders? Now, I find myself in a constant state of learning. You know, it's a lifelong kind of journey. So I've been very fortunate to learn from other women and other men, leaders, who can give us some bits and pieces about what it is, you know, that's most meaningful to us and how best can we contribute to society and to others. So the first is the importance to support one another. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't stress this enough. I think you need to be able to leverage support regardless of the choices that this or that woman makes, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about having a conducive environment which is supportive for any woman to choose whether she is comfortable being a homemaker or she's comfortable to pursue her career in toto, or whether it's a bit of both. We need to start, providing that safety net sufficiently across the economic strata. That's important. No judgment bone allowed. In my view. Number two is, how do you educate your children? I think even your sons, men, they play a pivotal role. So I always try my best. You know, he has to do the home chores. Harith has to also be sensitive about gender-related issues, because they're going to grow up, right? They're going to become adults, responsible or otherwise. It's really some percentage of it you can sort of play with, inshallah. Yeah. And the third, I think, for women to always just know that you are valuable. Know the importance that you bring to the table. It is already validated through data. There are statistics, numerous statistics that showcase the impact that women have when they join a particular board, the PTA. So even, look at the teachers. So there's many studies that showcase the impact that women can bring. But by the same token, you have to first and foremost love yourself. You just have to come with a lot of confidence that you can contribute, and others appreciate that, even though sometimes they take time to voice that out. Name 3 things about me that people don't know.
Oh, you're on mute, Sister Aliza.
Sorry about that. So yeah, I think that video really tied in nicely with what Che Puan Sarimah was saying, that it's
Supporting
really,
each other.
yeah, with the support and everything, and also the environment. But the thing that I really loved was when she mentioned about the children. I mean, we can talk all we want about supporting each other as adults, but then the children are the ones who are going to really, come up and make a true difference in the world. And it's going to be people like all of you, all the speakers today, who are educating your children to become better than all of us, right?
Yeah, so Lisa, I just wanted to add a little bit. One of the inspiring points I got from that video with Sis Nurul Izzah was when she talked about the boys. That's something that we are responsible at, especially. I'm very much interested in children, in childhood psychology and development for children. And one thing that we need to do more is decrease the stereotypes in school, like pushing the boys forward and keeping the girls back. Let the boys do the more difficult tasks, let the girls step back because they're not capable. So we need to be more aware about these stereotypes that we continue to reinforce, because we need the girls to come forward to gain that confidence, because without that confidence, they don't believe that they can be leaders.
That's right. That's a great point. And I think a lot of schools have looked into that, but it's definitely not enough. And I hope that, like what you said, you as someone who wants to come out and talk more about these issues, you'll be able to raise that awareness as well. I think, especially in Asian cultures, the social norms of what women or girls are supposed to do and what boys are supposed to do, this is still very, very strong. But I mean, I even talk to my own friends. It's like, why does it have to be like that? How come a boy can't cry? If he feels bad,
it's been that way.
Yeah,
it's a historical
if
thing.
Wants to do this, let her do it. Yeah.
And like with my daughter, I'm trying to get her to, obviously I'm going to be with more awareness now, just help her to understand that she is capable of doing a lot. Women and men are different. We have different abilities and capabilities, but it doesn't mean that we cannot sometimes borrow from the other and build on the strength,
Absolutely. Okay, so with your permission, I'm going to go ahead to the next round of questions. Yeah, we're going to leave leadership now. We're going to go now into the mental health questions. Okay, Puan Anita, we're going to start with you this time. Now, you give a lot of talks. I've seen your resume. You give a lot of talks, but do you think that it's enough? I mean, what is the next step really to encourage people to know and acknowledge the importance of mental health aside from the talks?
Okay, all right. Thank you very, very much, Sister Aliza. Giving talks is a great way actually to spread awareness. We're able to normalize the discussion, getting people to think about mental health. But obviously it's not enough, because based on the surveys or feedback forms that we give throughout, the hundreds of talks that we've done, people will have a change in perception, but whether or not it changes their behavior, that's a different story altogether, right? And so my answer is it really depends, because when you come to a talk, right, what is your purpose coming to the talk, and what is your experience prior to coming to me talking or whoever, right? If you come with the mindset that you want to learn and you realize that there are things that you don't know, because not knowing is also knowledge, right? And that would definitely help you, and it would provide that shift. But typically what we've seen, what we know is the basic human challenge is it's difficult to learn when you think you know, right? When you come with that mindset. So generally through data, through research, it has shown that via talks, it doesn't necessarily spur actions or translates into change in behavior. So it doesn't encourage people to act. It's not enough. So what we need to do next is actually a lot of other things, because what we've realized is a lot of people that attend our talks or read articles of mental health are people that are affected one way or another. It's either you have the condition, or you are a caregiver, or you are a mental health professional. So you belong to that space. So how do we reach other people? So what we have come to realize, because we've done this work for 5 years now, is we need to collaborate with other people that do not belong to the mental health space, right? So it could be collaboration with movements, with the woman movement, with celebrities, public figures, the media, right? So engaging with the celebrities have been really helpful, especially those that are going through a mental health struggle, right? So it's a different way of doing things because it's very typical. For example, if my mom says one thing, I know I hear it, but when my favorite celebrity says the same exact thing, I listen. You know what I mean? So it's very typical. So I think celebrities, public figures have this responsibility where if you use your social media, if you use your voice to amplify the voices of peers, it makes a huge difference. And especially the media, right? Producing movies or films, dramas, music videos that showcase accurate portrayals of people with mental health condition, but showcasing the depth of their experience as human beings, right? Not as the diagnosis. So ending it with a successful story. People with mental health condition can have successful businesses, can have PhDs, can lead a happy quality life, having families, having children, right? Because this is not what we showcase typically in a movie. It always ends with a person with mental health. Yeah, it's disaster, right? The person is a murderer, or they die via suicide. You don't talk about prevention, you don't talk about success, when in actual fact people with mental health condition go through successful lives, can lead quality lives, and this is what needs to happen. So these are some of the ways, Sister Aliza, that can be very powerful if the media helps out, if people that are in position, public figures and celebrities help out. We can actually create more impact. And we can see right now through the pandemic of COVID-19 especially, right? Why is mental health being, talked about a lot, discussed a lot about? Because it is impacting the mental health of many. The media is talking about it a lot. Even, a lot of interviews, a lot of TV interviews, radios, they're all talking about mental health today.
Yes,
so if we can continue this discussion after the pandemic ends, then there's going to be there's going to be a lot of improvements. We're going to be able to normalize it. We're going to be able to take away the shame from it, and we're going to be able to be inclusive. We're going to be able to give equal opportunities to everyone and treat a person with a mental health condition similar like everyone else, right? Not like a germ, not like a virus.
Right. I hope they do continue that, Sis Anita. I hope they do continue that we do continue talking about. We don't not just talking about it now because of the pandemic.
Right. Exactly.
And I would love to see, for all the viewers today, you are a part of this journey as well. Yes, the influencers and the celebrities are there to really spread the awareness, but you are the next step. When you share any of the
and what I've seen is via a lot of advocacy groups that have come to birth, this has also helped in creating awareness and people realizing the importance of mental health. Now with a platform like Miasa, when we're a peer group ourselves, that a lot of public figures and celebrities have been helping us to champion this, because now collectively we become braver in that sense, because we see, hey, Che Puan Sarimah can talk about it, I can too, right? Because we feel braver that way, because there's camaraderie, right? So togetherness, again, we can do this better, inshallah.
All right, so now we've talked about how to create more awareness and what's the next step after talks. Maybe we can bring it down even more to the ground with Che Puan Sarimah. How would you encourage more women to channel their stressors into something that is more productive, more beneficial for yourselves? Maybe you can give examples of maybe what you've gone through or any of your friends have gone through.
Okay, well, we all have anxiety and stressors. That's one thing for sure. That's part of being human. Again, not having pressure on yourself. First, just remember it's okay to have terribly, horrible, crappy days, because without those kind of days, you can't appreciate the great days or the days that are just okay. You know what I mean? So like I said, let's not swing to the pendulum. Today's a good day or a bad day. There's always like in betweens. So just keeping that mindset and not having the expectation, like I've got to have an amazing life, just like she or he does on social media, and just understanding that you're leading the best life you are now with what you know right now. And that is what women need to keep in mind. And if you feel like you need to know more, reach out. You can reach out to places like Miasa. You can educate yourself further. You can watch online talks if you can't go physically. Things like exercise, eating well. I mean, these aren't just to look good and be slim. These are things to help your brain function better, so that if your brain functions better and you have better mood in yourself, just because you exercise a bit more that day, take your baby for a walk or go for a very quick run or a quick walk, even walking around your sitting room. I've done that. I have done that where I haven't been able to go outside when I was going through anxiety after my after giving birth. And I just walked around the bedroom and I felt better after that. And what happens is you release those happy hormones. It benefits you because your relationship works better, because you can speak more. Your brain has more serotonin. You can talk more. You have a better connection with your loved ones. And if you go to work, you're in a better mood, and that attracts more connection and therefore more opportunities. So I say, you know, talking about your problems, reaching out to ones you trust or a professional if you can, getting in contact with associations like Miasa, exercise, diet, those are the ways you can channel those stressful feelings and that anxiety. Even a quick walk, I'm telling you, it can do wonders for you. And walking around your sitting room, it can help. I've done it. These are the things that can help you decrease your stress and anxiety and channel it in a productive way. You might actually tone up, look better, have better connections, and that affects your work as well. So these are some of the little tips that I can give.
Thank you so much for those tips. And I just want to add because I'm actually also learning self-care and self-love this year. I didn't know about it before, but one thing that really helped me was Googling these words. Google up activities or self-care activities, because sometimes we don't know what a self-care activity is.
Yeah.
And you think about exercise. How am I supposed to exercise and go outside? I don't, and you know, but it could just be as simple as your afternoon coffee. Really love that afternoon coffee, right?
Whatever releases those happy hormones and
anything that works for you.
That's right. So yeah, if you're like me, you don't even know what self-love is before this, go ahead and Google that. Self-love activities. Okay.
Many of us don't know.
Yeah, yes, many of us, right? Okay, so now up is again YB through video, and her question is, why are you a big proponent for the cause of mental health, and when did it start? So let's look at that video.
Why are you a big proponent for the cause of mental health, and when did it start? Honestly, it's always been there, but I have to thank the people of Miasa and other mental health awareness groupings for always bringing up and raising awareness on this issue. I think people don't talk about it enough, and if you look at the pandemic and the lockdowns, it's really laid bare the crucial importance of us protecting society, segments of the vulnerable from the adverse consequences of mental health deterioration. And we have to remember that with the rise of usage in social media, especially amongst younger girls and younger boys, you see a higher degree of problems associated with mental health. And this is recorded in the UK, in America, of course, in Malaysia. I think because of this, we as policymakers have to come together to not just look at how we can improve regulation. Now, in the last parliamentary session, two key things I worked on. The first is to try to bring up the need to decriminalize attempted suicide. It's like how many times you want to punish a person, they're already being imprisoned by the challenges and the having to overcome their own mental health. And I think that's one, so you need to provide support for that. Number two is the fact that D11, which is the unit in charge and tasked with, sexual violence against children and women, they're not being supported, remunerated, invested in enough. They're not. And I think we try to have conversations with them, because if you want to make sure there is an existing ecosystem, a support base to maintain and to manage mental health and the well-being of our children and women, that you do need to make the investments in a concrete manner, which makes sense, which is impactful. And on top of that, I think with the Ministry of Women, I've mentioned this time and again, it has to be made a frontline ministry and not by virtue of budgetary support alone, but all the other ministries correspondingly have to work to support the front lining of women and children's issues. I think this is important. Therefore, the entire outlook of society and focus of government and governance has to be towards this upliftment. And so for me, we do need to create measures in place, because this is the next pandemic, the mental health pandemic that everyone's grappling with. If you have some time, go watch The Social Dilemma to understand the implications and the bigger picture and the context, and get your children to also realize the dangers of the device. It's about being mindful, because remember, yes, we do want to be equipped with technology, and a lot of people are going to be better prepared with the utilization of online education, but they must know the dangers that it poses. And I feel that all this, D11 would tell you clearly, Malaysia is a haven for so many predators out there, online predators, who are just mining for the content of child victims, Malaysian children. And I think that's why we need to be having the best experts placed accordingly to manage not just mental health, but the different dangers, subsets of it within the bigger ecosystem of the abuse of social media.
Okay, yes, thank you for that video. And I think now we've basically talked about every level of society, right? We've talked about the policymakers, we've talked about the NGOs, we've talked about women leaders, we've talked about children. So now it's become like this big picture that we have now. And I really thank all the panelists who have contributed, and all of the viewers as well who have, followed us all the way until this moment. And I know
may I add in something just a little bit? Something I took away from Nurul Izzah's video also, she was talking a lot about children, and that's something I wanted to add on again about children. The policies, definitely more protection for children, definitely essential. Unfortunately, Malaysia is very much vulnerable to predators, etc. online. But one of the key things that I think we can do as a society at home is open discussion with our children. And that comes with us being shifting the way we are at home, allowing our children to feel vulnerable enough to speak to us. Therefore, that will prevent them being more susceptible to these predators online. Because when the mother and father are able to talk to each other about problems at home, this not only decreases mental health issues, but it also allows a more safe haven at home for the children to be able to speak to their parents. And therefore, this decreases the risk for our children as a whole. And I think that's very much needed in our Asian culture, an open discussion about everything, be it mental health or what's happening online.
Right. Actually, that's a very good point, Che Puan Sarimah, because as you know, last week, Miasa with Instagram and Facebook, we launched the parental guide for Instagram.
Yes,
exactly what you just said. So the parental guide is on Miasa's website. It's on Facebook Malaysia's Facebook page. So you can download the parental guide there. So again, like what Che Puan Sarimah said, having that open discussion with your children so that they know what are harmful contents, and if they really find harmful contents, they need to talk to us about it. They need to have a positive experience online as well. So digital literacy. So this is something that we need to talk about. So not only that, like Che Puan Sarimah said, being open about your mental health problems, whatever issues that you're facing in school as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for that addition. It's so important. I think
Yep.
most of us don't know how to become parents. I mean, there's no like real classes, right?
No.
And how the heck
Exactly.
do you open up to your children about mental health and all these things?
Well, you be honest, you tell them, hey, this is what I'm going through. Not everything's perfect and okay. And if they're sad, you don't say, why are you crying? You say, tell me what you're feeling.
Right.
This is
Yeah.
okay.
They
So,
want to be heard. They want to be heard,
Mm.
and we want to validate what they're going through. So when we build that trust, they will then open up, and that's very important, definitely.
I think, Puan Anita, I think you and Che Puan, you guys need to do like role play or come
Yep.
up with some
We
vocabulary
can do that.
or
Yeah.
something.
Yes.
because this is very practical and needed. Very
Yes,
much.
I agree.
Because we were not
very
taught
good
this.
suggestion.
Yeah.
In culture, we are not taught this in culture. And in culture, we're told, "Why are you crying? Stop crying.
Right.
Be strong now. Enough."
Yep.
And then the kids feel devalued and they go online. So if we just treat the symptoms only and try and lock them away from all these predators and issues that are happening online, it's not realistic in the long term. We need to build a resilience in the children themselves.
Absolutely. Please put it on TikTok. Then we can forward to all of our.
We're doing that, Sister Aliza. We're creating a TikTok account. Well, they are. My staff.
Finally, because I'm terrible at TikTok. So, let's do this.
Okay, ladies, we have had a very informative and a little bit heavy session. So how about we do something fun now?
Okay.
All right. We always talk about all your achievements and all these things. We know these things already. So now I want to ask you, what are 3 things? I feel like I'm a teenager again. What are 3 things that we don't know about you? And either one of you can go first.
Okay, Anita, go first.
I go first? Okay, first, I used to speak Italian fluently.
Oh, what?
Yeah. As a child, because I grew up in Italy, in Milan. So, you got to speak.
Milan.
Yeah. So I used to speak Italian fluently, and then because you don't use it, so you lose it. Well, I can speak a little still, but not very fluent anymore.
Bellissima. Dolce vita.
Buongiorno, come stai? Okay. Number 2, I'm a very transparent person. What this means is what you see is what you get. So I don't have any gray, Che Puan Sarimah.
Oh.
Black or white. Yep. So if I'm angry, I'm angry. If I'm happy, I'm happy. So with a mental health condition, pretending to be normal, that was the ultimate challenge.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey.
I think all of you can relate to that.
Yeah.
And number 3, I think a lot of people don't know this, is my brother is a Hafiz. He was a Hafiz at 10 years old.
Wow.
Oh, alhamdulillah.
Yeah. And, this was a very long time ago. I mean, he's my younger brother. He's 30 today. Well, now, this year. And I still remember, when he won one of the, national competitions, and he represented Malaysia to Dubai. And I went to the airport, and I wasn't wearing hijab during the time. And he whispered to my sister, he was so embarrassed because here I was trying to send him, off, and he felt very embarrassed. I'm so sorry that I wasn't wearing a hijab, but I wore long sleeves with a very long skirt. But yeah, so he became a Hafiz at the age of 10, mashallah, alhamdulillah. And he never went to a school, so he just learned the Quran. But then he went back to school when he was in standard 5, so year 5, and then he had the national exams in year 6, and he got all these names, mashallah, alhamdulillah. So if you can memorize the Quran, what are other subjects to you, right?
Yeah, mashallah.
Wow.
Thanks for sharing. How about you, Dewan? What's 3 things that we don't know about you? Even though you're so public, we know so much about you already, but what are 3 things?
There's a lot of things people think they know about me, but most of the time they've got it wrong, actually. I don't mean that in a sinister way. I just mean that that's just the way I've made it such, because I believe your public and your private life should be separate, definitely.
Yeah.
The first thing about me is actually I'm an introvert. I know that's a shocking thing. Yeah. I since younger, I've been an introvert, but a coping mechanism for my anxiety and when I feel uncomfortable is to talk an awful lot. And a lot of people find it shocking. Yes.
It is. I've always assumed you're an extrovert.
Exactly the same way as me. Exactly.
Yeah. I find it much more comfortable when I'm sitting one-on-one or maybe a small group of 4 to 6 people. I feel like I'm heard and I'm seen for being me. When there are more than that, I often feel like I have to display a certain way of being. That's an expectation I put on myself. So I'm definitely more of an introvert. That's the first thing about me. But I do enjoy entertaining, but that's more of a work thing.
Yep.
If you get what I mean.
Yep.
And I feel very tired when I come out from being with crowds. And a lot of people think that I reject going to events and stuff just because I couldn't be bothered or whatnot. But I actually do feel sometimes often drained. It's a very unusual thing. Other introverts who are out there will understand what I'm trying to explain here. So that's the first thing. Second thing about me is my left leg is not very good. My kneecap is really busted. And that is because I broke it in karate when I was, I think I was 11 or 12. Is I was bullied in school really badly. I had a girl jump on my face once in a school canteen and bash my head up because I was different and because I was a different religion, being Muslim in international school, and I wasn't white and I wasn't Asian, and she just decided she didn't like my face and jumped on me. And then I decided I was going to do martial arts, but then I broke my leg in karate, so I cut short my karate journey when I was 11, and until today my left leg's always busted, to be honest. And so I continued karate 10 years ago so that I could strengthen my leg, and I got to my black belt in case that girl ever pops up again. And the third thing about me is I like to collect miniature things. Like I like collecting miniature Japanese cooking sets.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I like collecting miniature things that, you know, artists do a lot of work on miniature homes and stuff like that. This is actually something that I'm very passionate about. So if there are any models and miniature like creations of cities, you know, you go to museums, like if you go to the Islamic Art Museum, you'll see a miniature display. I like to look at these things, the very small details.
Like what we have at Legoland, right?
Yes, I'm very much obsessed with these things. Like I go crazy. Like I have bought things online and kept them.
Wow. Yes. Wow. Okay. So serious.
That was fun to know.
Okay, so
I'd like to get like a miniature Quran, and I can't find one, like a tiny little one. I think that would be amazing to have.
I think they are out there. I've seen them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like really small.
Okay, so I think you guys saw a little bit of the video that we had. So we do have 3 things that we don't know about her as well. So let's play that video now. That one was really fun.
Name 3 things about me that people don't know about. So people firstly know that I love Malaysian batik. I'll try to give a reminder. Please wear your Malaysian batik. Let's support our heritage together. And you know, it's from Kampung Penambang, Kelantan, one of the oldest batik designs. Yeah, but of course that's fine. But did you know I was arrested and placed in the lockup whilst wearing my Malaysian batik? Tadatush.
Wow.
So for me, it's I felt proud as a Malaysian batik wearing legislator at the time.
Leave that to YB, Izzah.
Number 2, I guess I love music, so I'm really appreciative of the impact that music has on me when I'm in need or when I'm sad and in need of an uplift. So usually I listen to alternative rock. I love Radiohead, but back in the day, Smashing Pumpkins was huge. And you know, Soundgarden, the whole Seattle scene.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Yeah, music is really one of my favorite ways to escape life's troubles and challenges. So I try to influence my kids' music taste, but you know, a bit more. Inception helps me, but yeah. So that's what I love. Number 3. What is it that I would like to share? I forgot. What was it about?
Orchid.
Oh yeah. Okay. So, this is one of my pet peeves. I get very upset when one of my lives, not one of my lives, but I get very upset when I see an orchid plant dying after the 3rd month. So usually it lasts for a couple of months, right? But my grand aunt, my Manda, I kid you not, can manage and ensure that an orchid plant survives a whole year and more.
Wow.
It does not escape her protection. So I call her the orchid whisperer. So I always offer my friends, if you need your orchids to be restored and rejuvenated, and revive back to life. I'll send it to you. I'll
Oh,
send it to you.
wow.
Manda. And voila! I mean, a couple of months lah. Sometimes masuk ICU kan, because it's so bad that you guys don't know how to take care of it. I didn't know how to take care of an orchid, but
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, it survives. So, anyway, the three things. Thank you so much for this time. I actually had fun, and I'm so sorry I cannot be there with you. But Permatang Pauh, you know, we do need to do our part. And may Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala bless all of you. Take care. Remember, you are loved. Take care of your mental health, and let's do this together.
Wow. Terkejut pula cerita pasal orchid tu kan, tak sangka.
So surprised.
And also the music.
Pumpkins fan.
Actually, I
But
do
I-
love rock as well. 80s rock for me. It's
Yeah,
80s.
I managed to influence my kids with my taste of music because, during my days, I love Eminem, and my son is now a
Whoa.
big fan of Eminem, although he's
Wow.
older, much older today. Yeah.
Oh. More like a rock, 80s and 80s music, like Spandau Ballet and
Yes.
like Rick Astley.
Okay, ladies, we are over time by 40
Yes.
minutes almost, but it was such an interesting session. I'm so honored to be hearing
Yes.
from all of you. I know it was long, but it was so interesting. Thank you to all of the viewers that stayed with us till the end. I hope that a lot of people are going to see this replay as well. Yeah, so let me just do the formal thank yous real quick. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you to Yang Berhormat Senator Datuk Adiba Radzi, Yang Berhormat Puan Nurul Izzah Anwar, Yang Mulia Che Puan Sarimah Ibrahim, Yang Berbahagia Puan Anita Abu Bakar, all of my BM. Thank you to all of you for being on the forum. Thank you to everyone at Miasa and at home as well. We have learned a lot. There were a lot of tips, a lot of, a lot of supportive tips for all the women out there. And, again, if you don't know what to do, you don't know where to turn to, always turn to Miasa. They are on every social media platform. Just write in MIASA, you will find them. Their volunteers are always there. Any last words that either of the two of you would say before we log off?
Well, I'd just like to say thank you very much once again for having me as the patron for Miasa. I look forward to a fabulous year together, inshallah. Through the ups and downs, we'll get through this, and the pandemic will pass, inshallah. I believe nothing is permanent in life. Everything is temporary. Thank you very much, Sister Aliza. Kap kun kap, I think. Yes, and I just want to say, let's continue together. Don't forget the children, because a lot of us adults talk about this, but we're forgetting about the kids. They're the ones who are going to be us in the future, and hopefully they'll do a much better job than we have so far. So let's help educate them first and protect them for the future.
MashaAllah. Buan Anita, any last words?
Yes. Thank you very much, Sister Aliza. Thank you very much for your perfect Bahasa Melayu, or is it Bahasa Malaysia today? Thank you very much, everyone, for watching, for tuning in. And thank you very much, Che Puan Sarimah, for agreeing to be part of Miasa, helping us for this cause. Hopefully together we can do more, inshallah. And for those of you out there, to all my peers that are struggling, that are going through whatever you're going through right now, and all the caregivers out there, continue this journey, fight on. Obviously, whatever we're going through right now, it's not permanent. This moment will pass, and we continue to have a good opinion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. So thank you very much, everyone, and happy International Women's Day.
Yay!
So with that, our forum today has come to a close. We hope to see you again in another Miasa event online or even offline, inshallah.
Yes, inshallah.
Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Thank you very much to everybody. And with that, I would like to say assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Stay safe, stay at home, and to you guys again. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam. Bye. Thank you. Thank you very much, Go. Good job.
You go.
Bye. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.